Hello friends, welcome to another episode of Indian Temples YouTube channel. As you know, we try to keep interacting. We try to invite different kind of guests on our show who have different perspectives on life, different perspective about our epics, different perspective about our ancient history. So today we have another very special guest here. His name is Krishna Rajaganesan. He is the founder of Temple of Strength. This organization trains into traditional fitness. They provide training in traditional fitness. Krishna Raj Ganeshan has a very illustrated, very long career in the fitness activity in the fitness sector. He is trained in martial arts. He's trained in Kushti. He is trained in different historical approach on holistic well-being. And after all the training he has received, after that he has started this temple of fitness as an activity. So we'll be interacting with Krishna Rajaganeshan and we'll be taking different questions about traditional fitness from him. Welcome Krishna on our show.
Namaste ji, so glad to be here.
Yeah. So first thing I want to know from you Krishna is what exactly is this term traditional fitness? Because for the newbies like us, fitness is a fitness. What's traditional and non-traditional into it?
So traditional part is what were people doing before gyms came into place, or the current market, what it calls as fitness. What were our ancestors doing before? We were strong people. We were a culture that produced strong human beings, and throughout our history, we have had mentions of strong beings, and strength was always part of our households. So traditional fitness is what our ancestors practiced.
So when you say that traditional fitness is something that our ancestors used to experience or they used to practice, so definitely we also find some mentions in our epics or Purans or temples or temple sculptures. Can you enlighten us about some of these references?
Definitely. So it is based on the regimen and also based on the region. Traditional fitness it changes. So and it is based on families also. If you see, for example, when we go into a temple, we see Dwarapalas. So mainly if you see Dwarapalas, they'll be having a long gada in the hand, or they'll be having a mugdar that has got a very good grip, which is so God as an energy entity, it is already powerful. But you can think of Dwarapala as a bouncer for God. So these ones they have in their hands, they are heavy equipment, traditional fitness equipment that have been practiced for centuries. And the mechanism in which it is practiced and the way it is, how the culture has been passed down and all is very interesting and very scientific also. And this particular fitness approach is what will work for people living in India, because since it is being practiced for ages together and it is well studied, well documented, and it was so much in practice. For example, when you say Vedas or Smritis are the way to learn traditionally, this is the way to learn. For fitness, Vyayam is the way to approach fitness. Regarding iconography, temples were places where all our culture was documented. So if you when you see a Dwarapala photo standing with a Gada, it means Dwarapalas used to have Gadas. And all the depictions of arts of Valor, for example, there used to be documentations of stone lifting competitions in temples. There used to be documentations of a lot of strength events, martial art events, and all that were documented in temple walls also. And traditionally in Tamil Nadu, they were given a shield that is called by the name Pattayam. Pattayam is also like how belts are there for karate. Pattayam is for traditionally trained martial artists who practice, that was their lifestyle. This martial art was their lifestyle. So what we learn now is from the lifestyle of Kshatriyas. What I learned is from proper people. I traditionally trained in Silambam first, and then I learned Kalaripayattu for a while. Then I went to Banaras to learn my Kusti. And I'm very happy to share that I trained under people who are very orthodox, very traditional in their approach. So the way it is, what is consumed as fitness information outside is what uh, people who market for powders or people who create content for brands, and this content is being fed as information to us. That is not the truth also. For traditional fitness, the approach is also very, very different. The normally what is considered as fitness and traditional fitness, the way, the goals, everything is totally different and it is very natural. The gain that you get out of practicing traditional fitness is you train for endurance. You don't train for just like a aesthetic body, which is full of fat. You train for your endurance, which means you will live longer naturally.
From your words right now, I had picked up a couple of words that I would like to talk about, discuss about. Firstly, I would go with you mentioned that Dwarpalas have Gada with them, and that is kind of an traditional fitness aspect of their life. So
Definitely.
what we used to generally think that Gada is a weapon because in Hanumanji's life, in Bhima's life, in
Mm,
Duryodhana,
mm,
or even with
mm.
Krishna and Balram, we have seen them with Gada and they have used it as weapon. So is it a weapon or is it a fitness equipment? It could be confusing for some of us.
Actually, it is three things. It is a weapon, it is a fitness equipment, it is also a symbol. Gada is a symbol of strength. If you see anyone who has a Gada, be it Duryodhana, Duchadana, Krishna, Balarama, Hanuman, or Varapala, anyone who has a Gada with them, they are from wrestling background. All Mallas and the Mallas who practiced under proper training, Gada Yuddha was a separate thing altogether. There are rules for Gada Yuddha. Like if you read Mahabharatam, there will be a explicit explanation why your groin area should not be hit with the Gada. And Gandhari's story with uh, Duryodhana that explains because that is from the rule. You don't hit in your groin area when you're doing a Gada fight. So it was well documented. So Gada means they are from a wrestling background. And there are different types also, different sizes, different types. For female goddesses who are really powerful, they will have a Gada which has got a longer handle and a shorter end. It will be a small ball kind of a thing. For people who are really strong, like Krishna, Balarama, Hanumanji, Hanumanji has a fantastic Gada. Whole Vanarasena had their own, even Angad has Gada. There will be significant differences in the way it is done, and everyone it also matters on their expertise, no. So when Vanarasena they lost their all their equipments made out of iron, steel, and all that, they took up a route that is called I don't remember the English name, but in Tamil it is called Magida Maram. It is one of the strongest roots, and they made their Sena to fight with that root of the tree. So it is our history is very interesting. And the best thing with a gada is you're swinging a gada, it means you are lifting three times of that weight. So swinging gada is not easy and it is not for a beginner also. Only when your shoulder is set after doing n number of practice with traditional fitness exercises, only when your shoulder is set, you can do a gada. But आजकल क्या हो रहा है? Everyone is picking up a gada right and then starting to swing. You can see that there will be a, tremendous difference in the bodies of people who train traditionally, the strength levels of people who train traditionally, and people who use it as a play toy. There will be a key difference in it. And traditionally, stone equipments are the ones how gadas are trained with. Wooden gadas are like it is like a weapon part of it. Wooden gadas are usually very light, and then they're used in wars only. And mostly they'll have a very good metal backed up to it. Like actually, yuddha karne mein wooden gada will break. No, you keep hitting one thing, it will break. No. There used to be proper structure in which a Gada is constructed also. So a lot of data needs to be revived from our side to keep the traditions alive. So I think everyone has a lot of work to do on that front. And most of the people who are interested in it, once they take it up into their lifestyle only, they will know what they are talking about. Someone cannot talk about swinging Gada. I've been swinging Gada for like 5 to 6 years now. I can talk about Gada because I have done that much of abhyas. Gada abhyas karne se hi one can understand what it does to your body, what kind of energy it gives, what kind of positivity it radiates when you do. And these are all traditionally done. Everyone will have their unique input from their guru. So, and traditional fitness is personalized also. So someone who is doing a Gada, it means they have fantastic shoulder strength and they can push you into any sort of like, how to say, for a normal person, when you're taking on a wrestler, that will be the difference. They can control your whole body weight in seconds. That is the difference between someone who actually practices Gada and someone who does not know from a normal background. You train from a traditional fitness background, you train, the strength levels will be totally different. And someone who is trained traditionally will be really strong.
That's new aspect that I have learned about Gada. I something I did not know. Also, you mentioned about Pattayam, like right?
Yes,
You mentioned that it's a shield that you receive when you clear some levels in the
yes.
traditional fitness regime. So, shield is also another thing that we usually have seen in wars and depiction of warriors. But this is the first time I'm knowing that it's also a fitness equipment. Is it equipment or
No,
is
no,
it like a trophy?
no, no, it is like a trophy only. Equipment though hai, there is a shield that is a different type of training. That is before war, we used to train with shield. And there is a lot of cultural fragments that have happened to India. So what we miss in Indian culture will be found in Persian culture, like that, because ours is a huge country and we have been through a lot of wars. And if you see the common acceptance of anything traditional also will be hard, and it is very natural also, because Britishers have fine-tuned our brain in that manner, where people start respecting things that come from a white person. Now I see a lot of young people, they want to learn yoga from Americans only. They don't like learning yoga from their own ancestral background. So it is getting a bit challenging for traditional people who really have the abhyas and the sadhana done to talk out things. So Pattayam, coming to Pattayam, Pattayam is like a shield which is gotten once you complete a particular level. So once you complete fitness, you go to equipments. Once you complete equipments, you go to weapons. This is how the progression is.
Interesting part about Pattam as well. Talking to you, I'm realizing that the traditional fitness has probably a long history in India, and that has been practiced for a very long time. So,
Definitely.
if you could throw some light on the history of how fitness has started in India, how it progressed with time, that would be very interesting to know.
So right from, I think it all starts. Since many people know about yoga, I'll start there itself. So Shivji is considered as the first yoga guru. So the weapon he has in his hand is a trishul, and trishul is one of the last equipments you train with when you train in warfare. Someone who has trained in trishul, it means it is not easy to beat them. And trishul also, it also has a very important side effect. You don't uh, use trishul properly, it will cut your own calf muscle. When you're swinging it, you don't use properly, it will cut your own calf muscle. So it requires a lot of expertise to wield trishul. So starting from there, starting from Shivji, even gods are all trained only. Kanda is the one who taught the art of Silambam to Agastya Muni. Agastya Muni documented it as Kamba Sutra. The Kamba Sutra is the world's first martial art book and also a self-help book, which is not easy to practice at all. If you see the beauty of these scriptures, they have mentioned how to kill animals with what kind of strikes, with what accuracy, and the exact amount of force that needs to be used. This is how specific our ancestors were in documenting. एक जानवर को मारने के लिए there is so much efforts being taken and documentation is done. I see how much knowledge and smartness is involved in this process. So, and I take pride in practicing this also. There is some sort of a pride that I am practicing what God did. So, I'm really happy and sharing this knowledge with everyone who is listening to this.
So, from Shiva and from the Agastya Muni, how did it progress further? How did the fitness journey progress further in our culture and
Every
our
parampara,
life?
yeah, every parampara has their own sort of inclusivity. And warfare, though, it was a lifestyle once. There were Kshatriyas who were alive who were keeping this tradition. Until Kshatriyas were there, this tradition was very much alive. And uh, I should say Britishers rippled the surface of Indian society. So there is a lot of chaos that happened. Now you see a lot of people who are from this original family, they themselves don't know what their abhyas was because it is that deeply buried. It is a very sad state, and it has happened to any country who has been through colonization. I personally know a lot of history of martial artists whose fingers were cut because they were not supposed to teach this art to anyone. Britishers were actually they were facing a lot of threats because of martial art teachers because these people were causing trouble in making them like there was a king called Veerapandya Kattabomman. It is very famous. His tale is very famous in South India. Kattabomman is a very famous king uh, regimen, whose regimen had a lot of Silambam warfare techniques. It is said that his soldiers were able to stop a bullet just by using bamboo staff. They were that fast. So these people, imagine that someone who is of this strength, so trying to stop a bullet with a bow staff, and they are that focused in their warfare. How do you stop them from progressing? You simply kill their teachers. It is simple. So that all their culture shaming started back then. Anything white was only promoted here. And what I have left is coming from masters who took upon sugarcane fields to create private grounds where they taught to their families. That is how Bachakar it was given to us. So there is a sense of respect that needs to be given to these masters when you're practicing this also. Without them, nothing would have been done. A lot of gratitude should be shown to Sikhs also. Sikhs did a lot of bachana work. Without them, a lot of martial art things that is happening today wouldn't have happened. Marathas did a fantastic job. A lot of Tamil families did, Andhra families. So this is all coming to you, and I genuinely think only if you're gifted, you'll get into this kind of thought even. To stay natural, no? I stay close to nature because my Vyayam keeps me grounded. My martial arts keep me closer to my God. So this is how it should be protected. And I don't think it is for everyone also. Commonly, people who have corrosive habits cannot get into a disciplined lifestyle. Vyayam is a disciplined lifestyle.
Definitely, Britishers have ruined a lot of our culture and a lot of our systems that everyone would agree upon. But it's good that some of these traditions are still alive because of dedication by dedicated efforts by some families and some people. You mentioned about how different kings from different areas of India have helped in keeping this tradition alive. You especially mentioned Marathas and Sikhs in that part. So, because I come from a place that is closer to Marathas and that was ruled by Marathas for a while, so I know how they have kept that tradition of Kushti and everything alive here, especially in parts of Kolhapur or Samarth Ramdas. He was a saint here and he has done a lot of work.
Fantastic. Yes.
So, yeah. So yeah, talking about this Kushti and Maratha part especially, there are few traditions that I have seen in the school that we have only looked upon it as a spare sports activity because in sports lecture we always wanted to play cricket or football, but our school used to teach us a few activities. While you're talking, I suddenly remembered some of these. So we used to have this bhala fake thing. uh, I don't know what it is called in English. Javelin throw. We recently got a
Mm-hmm.
gold medal in it. Or
Yeah.
we used to have a sport of Mallakhamb. That's how we used to call in Marathi. So you know about
Mm.
Mallakhamb? Yeah.
Yeah,
So
Mallakhamb was that throughout India.
okay, it's practiced throughout India. So are these all like traditional practices that went on in for thousands of years or more than that?
Definitely. You have to look at the implementation or the application of every routine also. For example, when you say Marathas are fantastic with swords. Their Talwarbazi is simply amazing. There was a recent excavation that was done in one of the sites of Pune where they found a skeleton that had immense knee strength. So when you look back at what their routine was, 108 Suryanamaskar was their warm up. Today, if you see people who are doing 108 Suryanamaskar, so that is how endurance-based Vyayam should be. Strong your people were, and now that I see a lot of दिखावा चल रहा है भाई. इसमें प्रॉब्लम क्या है? काम, they'll be happy with themselves. People who don't know what to do with the energy, little bit of energy they have got, दिखावा चलता है. You see Mallakhamb, you see its application. Oil is poured on a wooden tool on which people are made to climb. So how it is used in warfare? People used to climb the walls of their enemy forts. They pour oil and they light that on fire also. During that time, this training will help them climb the forts of their enemies. This is how it was used. So every traditional practice has an application. If you are, for example, you have a dumbbell that you are doing curls with. For example, it is a bicep curl. Bicep curl to करने के बाद, how it is used in your real life. If you're doing a mugdar, if you're doing a gada, if you're doing a santola, I can train you to how to use this movement in saving yourself, saving your family, saving you in a fight. It is application based. This is the key difference. And our ancestors did not do things without any reason. There was always practical knowledge involved. And the best part is there is no side effect. There is no side effect. If you train properly with a real guru, there is no side effect. Have you heard of anyone getting injured in an akada and then losing their life? Sudden death in akada? No, it never happens. No, because the system is itself smart and it is highly personalized also. You would have read sudden shocks in the sudden shocking deaths in Bangalore, sudden shocking deaths in Pune, in the gyms. I saw a video of a guy who just collapsed in the front of entrance of the gym, cardiac arrest. That never happens in traditional training because make sure that there is enough support given to them and there is understanding of their genetics also involved. If you are training under me, I wouldn't push you beyond your genetic threshold and I wouldn't push you beyond your personal threshold. So all this will be taken into account. And it needs to be this way to see progress. Why are people quitting gyms? Right? They join in January, they'll quit at the end of January. Because that system will not work for us, man. It is simple. And I don't know why people see always when I say fitness, no, they always compare. You know Arnold, how he does exercises. I don't give two cents who even Arnold is. Because we simply don't care. He belongs to a German background. He became governor of USA. This is all is happening there. I am someone who is living in India. Why would I do this workout? It is common sense, no? And the whole industry is based on documenting things of famous people. What you do as workout today, it is simply compilation of all the famous bodybuilders workout list. The funny thing is they wouldn't do this because they do things only that work for them and it is increasing your muscle mass. It is simply putting fat proportionally around your body and that is not functional. People have to understand that bodybuilding is a sport. It is very rigorous. It is totally against nature's threshold of human potential and it is a lifestyle altogether. When you're practicing a residue of a sports-based lifestyle, you also come along with its side effects also. A lot of side effects that can easily happen for a beginner is there will be a lot of vata injection in the body, a lot of vata injection, which will cause too much of pain and muscle gain, protein, too much of unwanted data based on unscientific methods. For someone who is living in India, BMI is used as a metric. BMI is a metric that was done for malnutrition kids post-war, post-famine. इसमें लॉजिक क्या है भाई? We don't question it because doctors have been trained for in institutes for 5 years because first year itself BMI is for them is a uh, memorized metric. They start from there. You can't change their habits. We can at least develop common sense. No? So this is the problem. People don't question things. People don't take. Someone tells you, yes, we can just like that take. And doctors, you can't blame them because their industry runs that way. Their industry is itself that way. Doctors sold Kellogg's. Doctors sold unwanted sugars that has fructose compounds. Doctors made breakfast the important meal of the day. Doctors sold cigarettes until 1980s. No one will tell you this. You simply Google, you will find. So my background was in marketing research. तो ये campaigns को पूरा पढ़ना मेरा काम था. So that is why I learned so many shocking things that is happening in this industry, and which is not needed for us. Indians don't need this, no. We are simply made into victims.
Interesting arguments put up there. Even
नहीं 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 नहीं. I wouldn't say arguments. These are facts. You can Google it. You can check with the professional. These are facts.
yeah, argument. I'm not saying argument in terms of quarrel. Argument is
Uh,
a group of facts that are put together. Even that is called as argument.
okay
So
then.
in that sense, I was saying
Fantastic.
in that sense I was saying
Yeah.
argument. You mentioned about a few things, especially you mentioned about the word akhada. I want to discuss in detail about it, but before that, like you mentioned that lot of our learnings come from Britishers. We picked up many things from foreigners, and we consider that as the basic fact, or we that was put up in front of us as a basic fact. So even during my lectures at many places, I always tell students, tell younger kids that you should learn from your own stories, your own epics or Purans. You may call
Hmm.
it mythology, you may call it history. That doesn't make a difference. Just look at
Hmm.
it as a story that is teaching you something. So earlier, when I was doing some research, I have written a book that is this Hanuman Chalisa, Arth
Oh,
Anvayarth.
fantastic.
So it's actually a Marathi translation of Hanuman Chalisa. And when I was doing
Hmm.
research for that book, when I was studying about life of Hanuman, there were a couple of points that struck me uh, in terms of fitness part. So, as we also earlier talked about Mallakhamb, in Maharashtra, it's commonly told that Mallakhamb was a practice that was firstly started by Hanuman himself. He was the first one to practice Mallakhamb. Also,
Hmm.
there is another technique that is called as Suryanamaskar.
Hmm.
So, even it is said that Suryanamaskar was started by Hanuman as a tribute to his teacher Surya. Or
Probably.
even Kushti is very largely associated with Hanuman in different parts of
Hmm.
India. So,
Okay.
do you think these are only the stories that motivate us to study the traditional fitness, or it could be a larger
Uh,
message?
One thing is, one thought you can rewire into your brain is you are training the similar way a god trained. This is first thing. I'll explain all the three things separately. And the first thing is people who are our ancestors, they only became gods. Gods are not separate entities in India. God lived among us. Even now, gods are living among us. Okay. When it's coming to Mallakhamb is very, very old. And yes, Hanumanji would have definitely done it. Hanumanji wouldn't have needed a Mallakhamb because he belonged to a species that was already Vanar. He belonged to a species that was more athletic than us. For them, they can swing the Mallakhamb also. They were genetically that built. His species was really, really built. So we are Homo sapiens. I think they are called Homo erectus or something. The species is called Homo erectus or something. And that is why Hanumanji doing Mallakhamb, I don't think it is logically done. But he would have done what all can be done in Mallakhamb, he would have done because he was that athletic. This is one thing. Suryanamaskar, along with Aditya Hridayam, there is a proper ritual that was done for Lord Surya. So it comes along with mantra and it needs a proper guru to even learn. They say you can't do a 100-hour certification, 200-hour certification and learn Suryanamaskar. That is not the right way to learn. You have to learn it from a proper guru who has done it traditionally with the support of mantras and their lineages, proper methods. This is second thing. And I think I'll have to ask my guru about you mentioning how Hanumanji offered this as something that is for his guru. It is very interesting, man. Nice to learn this from you. I think I'll do more of my research from this. And then the third thing you mentioned was about Hanumanji installed in a lot of akhadas. Before Hanumanji, the Pratima of Krishna was installed. After that, one saint took it upon his job to install Hanumanji in all the akhadas. Before Hanumanji, Krishna's Pratima was installed in a lot of akhadas because he was the greatest wrestler. If you read Mahabharata, you will see how he killed Chanur, Malla, and all that. A 16-year-old boy defeating very huge Palwans and all. He was the best wrestler. Then Hanumanji was later installed. Now everyone is very much glued to Hanumanji. Hanumanji is a lot of sense. So with him, we get into the Akada. I am treated as a son of Hanuman also. That is how my Guruji will treat me. Akada is a place where wrestling basically happens. Now a lot of akadas are not functioning traditionally. I'm very glad that I found a akada that is functioning traditionally, which has a proper community and all that. And it is declining due to the societal nature also. Because earlier days kings used to maintain akadas. When you replace the Raja system itself, who will you call king now? Who will maintain the Akhada? This is all social gadbada. So this is why there is a decline in the culture. And wherever you see culture ka decline, it becomes a market gap. So when there is a decline in culture and there is a decline in practices, people always find easy ways to adopt. If, for example, if you train under me, I'll tell you work with me for 3 months. I'll show you improvement. But the opposite side will tell have powder 1 month में काम हो जाएगा कुछ भी नहीं करना है. So which one will you choose? You'll choose the powder wala one, and then
Of
you'll get
course.
kidney problems, and then you'll get digestion issues, you'll get constipation, and then when you come to someone like me, it will take 3 weeks to work on what are the basic damages that have been done to you. End of the day, people always want to show results. They don't want results. They want to show results. So वहां पे गड़बड़ हो जाती है. When this is how every traditional thing, there is a break that has happened. For example, for someone who is training with bow staff, for them running, agility and endurance will never be a problem. For someone who is trained with swords, reflex will never be a problem. For someone who is trained with grip strength like Mugdar or Gada or Santola, for them gripping, climbing will be very easier. Naturally, their nervous integrity will be really good. When your nervous integrity is good, naturally your blood flow is good, your digestion is good, your energy levels is good, you'll live longer. Simple सी बात है. What? This is all education around this topics, no? Even if we tell also, you will be like, "Hey, ये तो कुछ तो बोल रहा है," but they'll not be ready to try. If you're ready to try, I can show you results. All the students I train, see, there have been people who are sticking with me for 3 years, 3.5 years, and all. Without results, why would they stick with me? So this is how it is done, and I am simply doing what my Gurujis. I learned different art forms, and I have now got permission to teach all the secrets to my students also. So this time I went to Banaras. I got permission from my Guruji to teach all these things, and he's like, "I'm very happy the way you're doing. Keep helping people. I'm really glad this happened." And it takes a lot. I think this is also my duty that I perform towards my culture because I want to keep these practices alive. Because when the once they go, white people will find ways to mend with Indian brains and sell stupid things. So I see them as my culture competition.
Two interesting points that you have made here. The most interesting part I found out was installing Krishna sculpture or Krishna photograph in the akhadas, because when we look at Krishna traditionally, we see
Hmm.
either Balakrishna who जो बहुत naughty है नटखट है and he's doing all these naughty things, and then as
Hmm.
he grows up we see romantic Krishna who is playing his flute and fooling around with gopis and Radha, and then we see a warrior Krishna who is fighting war or warfare kind of Krishna who is guiding Pandavas for how to go ahead with the war, and he is master of psychological warfare, master of war
Hmm.
techniques. That's how we see Krishna. But we hardly ever realize that Krishna was also a great wrestler apart from all these roles. In
So,
fact, somewhere I have read that Balram himself has taught Gada Vidya to Bhim and Duryodhan both. Balram was their
Yeah,
tutor,
yeah,
and Balram was supposed to be the
yes, yes,
greatest. Yeah.
definitely.
So this is one part of Krishna that we
Balaram
need to
ji,
focus on. Yeah, sorry.
Balaram ji was so famous that Greek coins
Mm.
were printed with his head on. One side there was Balarama, one side there was Krishna. These people were that famous. And he was the one who brought the agriculture revolution in those times itself. Balram is not a small character like how today's TV shows depicted. Balram was at a time he was bigger than Krishna himself.
Yeah.
Balaram ke liye to there have been a lot of Hal Shashti was used to be big in foreign countries those days, not in India alone. Hal Shashti used to be big in foreign countries like Greece, Rome, and all. So these are characters. I don't think I have how to say can't even talk about. So these people are that big. Okay. So when Krishna, I'm. You think of it. I'll reverse what you said. Krishna is the greatest teacher. Krishna is the greatest warfare mind. Krishna is the greatest nugget you can see. To be a greatest warfare mind, you need warrior expertise. And with wrestling, the best part is 20 minutes of wrestling is equal to 3 to 4 hours of heavy weight exercise. Heavy weight exercise. Your body is under tremendous pressure, and at the same time, your brain has to be sharp, your body has to stay in its reflex, and also you have to read your opponent. In the same time, you have to read your opponent, you have to keep your body under control. It is not an easy thing, it is not an easy art to learn at all. And I have a huge respect for wrestlers. It is not an easy lifestyle to follow at all. Every part of a wrestler's body needs to be conditioned. You see these traditional exercises, how they are done, and what is done in gym. There is a clear-cut difference that these people they have asleep strength, and gym training should not even come into the conversation of strength at all. And I think ये पाप है, ठीक है. You train for muscle mass, you train for building particular portions of fat in your body. That is a sport altogether that is coming after 18th century only. The one who introduced bodybuilding, Eugene Sandow, he did not train like these people did. He did not even take supplements. For God's sake, he did not have supplements or steroids or any injections that are not needed, that are killing people. He was natural. He ate whole foods. He ate fruits. He ate pulses. The guy was natural for God's sake. Now, what is happening in the industry is, हर चीज तो it is like the problem with आजकल का generation is people always think there is a necessary true behind what is advertised, which is very bad. For example, what was happening before Tide and Rin came into the market? People are still washing only. Then we have soaps. The ancient soap was called Savukaram. It was also a medicine. This art was done by a lot of siddhas. Right? For China, we were exporting soaps. All this is there only when we read our history. And यहाँ पे गड़बड़ क्या हो रही है? When you mention history, people don't read beyond Mughals, which is the stupid thing. Mughals were the prime people who destroyed our history in the first place. So actual history is something different, and actual lifestyle is totally different. Similarly, actual training is also something very, very different. These gods have handed it down to us, and I personally consider it as a blessing for me to practice all this. It is one thing, and it also gives a very positive vibe, man. My best experience after practicing traditional fitness is I used to do gym when I was in my 12th grade and all that. I had very bad side effects. My genetics did not accept that at all. I was not even able to move my body and all that. And then once I started traditional fitness, my body accepted it. It was embracing it. And the best part was, it was not that painful as gym was. I saw a lot of progress and I grew mentally stronger. My focus levels improved. Even when I was working in a desk job, I would not spend 8 hours, 9 hours and all. Maximum 5 hours. 5 hours में तो काम चल रहा था. I was good or not, I have to ask my boss. But 5 hours के बाद no, my focus will be like, चलो जाने दो, काम हो गया बस. That holistic improvement of an individual happens only in traditional fitness. Your body, mind, and spirit are honed. You become stronger as one unit. This will happen only in Vyayam.
You talked about Krishna being a wrestler. You talked about how Hanuman was. Uh, he gave us different warfare techniques or different fitness things. We talked about how Shiva was the first yoga, first one who practiced yoga. So, are there any more deities that are associated with traditional fitness part?
Every deity is associated, man. See, you can't see a Ugra Devata and ask if they are trained, no. It is common sense, no. And it requires a sadhana to stand out from normal beings. For normal people, and you see generally people who are now in their 70s, 60s, for them, their childhood habit was exercise. For us, it is methodically cut down. It is cricket and football. Cricket, India ka hai kya? Cricket was copied from Gilli Danda. If we say this, you will be like, no, no, it is a gentleman's game. If you see cricket as a physical activity, you stand in a place, you try walking, and then suddenly your body has to pump blood for you to feel, for you to bat anything. You think it is a very good activity for your heart, for your cardiac region? No, it is supposed to be slow. It is supposed to be test match cricket only. Now, whatever is happening is all what the market is running it. How was cricket invented? It was supposed to be slow. Football के लिए तो you're going to stay active throughout. Football is a different thing altogether. And there have been Chinese versions of football and all. A smaller, if you see Jackie Chan's old movie and all, he'll show Chinese version of football. It is more active than what the European version is. So with all these games have been there, we simply have to find. There have been hundreds of traditional games for children alone, which are now forgotten. If children practice those games, now there will not be health problems. For a lot of people, we understand that, for example, you are now 30 plus years old, there needs to be proper shoulder activity for you to be done until the age of 6 to 8. If you don't have proper shoulder activity done, I can't make you start with Vyayam properly now. You will require special training because your shoulder will not have that strength. If you're not crawled enough, now it all comes as a lifestyle thing also. If I talk now, it will be like people will always get offended like he's telling we're not doing any work at all. पर सच तो वो है. The manual labor of people is now gone. It is all replaced with machines. So your body, when it was doing manual labor, it was functioning properly. If the input was there, we are functioning properly. But now, what will do? What will you guys do? God will even laugh at you. You have historic references of how in one particular region, if you take, for example, I come from Tamil Nadu. In Tamil Nadu, there was fantastic physical culture. Now it is all in dust. Nothing is here because people did not simply find it fascinating to follow. It is gone down. No? So and that is why it is becoming rare. And now we see that there is a genuine interest for traditional things coming in. Spirituality also slowly is rising, and it is very good time for people to get started with Vyayam also. This particular year is going to be a lot of strength is needed for a lot of people. 2024. Vyayam will be a fantastic choice.
Getting back to one of the topics that I left behind a few minutes ago, the word akhada, as you mentioned. So
Yes.
when we see in some movies like say that Salman Khan movie Dabang was the movie. So in that movie, Akhada was shown as a place of the villain of that movie. He was a
No, no,
uh,
Sultan.
no, Sultan is different. Sultan is where Salman Khan himself gets trained. In Dabang,
Oh, oh, okay.
in Dabang,
Uh.
yeah. So Akhada is kind of showed in a negative light in that movie.
Hmm.
Or there are many such references in Bollywood where akhadas are
Yeah,
showed in
yeah.
a very negative way. So maybe I think it's time that we actually help people realize what akhada actually is and how it is actually helpful to them. So I
No,
would like to
actually,
know
it
from
is
you what akhada
no,
exactly
no. It is
is.
actually the reason why you should go to. See, that is the exact reason why you should go to Akhada. When something is shown in negative light, it has only two psychological reasons behind it. Either they are afraid of it, or they have had bad experience from it. There is no other logical reason. So I think I'll go with the first one. Actual training happens here. You see a routine of a wrestler. You see routine of someone else who's advertised, it will be more natural. 100% sons of soil who actually want to stay connected with nature. Akada is a place for wrestling, man. You are someone who believe in your strength. You want to learn tackling and all that. And it is not for people who are doing sitting jobs. Akada is not a place for people who have weak genetics. For example, you are from a parent. I am a son of a manual labor. My father was into mining. He was a mining foreman. Only because my father had enough manual labor input in his genetics, I am able to take on what wrestling happens. If people are from parents who did sitting jobs, if they get into Akada, 2 days में कुछ ना कुछ गड़बड़ हो जाएगा. Just their garden alone will pain like crazy. It is not easy. It all comes with genetics. This is actual science. Whatever is happening in your genetics, there needs to be some sort of acceptance for your genetics. So I have this acceptance because one of my grandfathers was a boxer in Tamil Nadu. He taught these techniques to my father, and luckily my father made me exercise from a very young age. So as a habit also, I've been made to take on it. If I take any of my friends here to Akada, I know they'll get injured because their body will be in a state of shock. Akada is like place for people like your descendants of Hanuman, Krishna, and Balaram can go there. It is that kind of a place. For a normal person, traditional fitness at the comfort of their home. So I teach that category of people only. People who don't get results with yoga and people don't prefer gym are the ones who train with me, and their results are fantastic with that.
You mentioned about yoga and Suryanamaskar. So,
Hmm.
are these also part of traditional fitness? The yogas that is being taught today, or the
Yoga is
Suryanamaskar that
not like what many people assume today. Yoga is a separate thing to be learned, which is totally false. Yoga is a part of everything. Why are Tamil Nadu women putting columns at the entrance of their houses? They draw this with rice flour. No? This is work of Agastya Muni done. This is for them to stay close to nature by feeding ants on a daily basis. Yoga to हर चीज में है. If you don't talk bad to any person, you don't kill anyone, you don't harm anyone, you are staying at your spiritual self. The term Ayurveda gives is called swasthya. Okay. When you follow this, you're already doing half of what Yama is. Yama is the first stage of yoga. If you learn yoga, first 6 months you have to sit silently and listen to your guru. Who is teaching it that way now? And yoga ko lekar, let me not talk about it, man. A lot of people will get offended. I have offended a lot of people enough. So I don't want more hate for me. Asli yoga, it is there in your life. Your grandmother is a better yogi than you. So if you are not patient enough to talk to your grandmother, it means you have issues to sort out. As I, this is the true thing. And हर चीज में yoga's input has been given to us smartly by rishis and munis. And at the end of the day, Indians are so lucky that they don't have to go outside to learn. India में ही सब मिलता है. This is the best part about India. You need not learn anything outside of your country. But the rest of the world, they have to come here and only learn. It has been like this since ages. Since the time of Rama and Krishna, this has been the state. Because our people's knowledge is that advanced. You see yoga poses in temples? No. The sculpture is himself a yogi. Without that concentration, you know how a sculpture is first initially made? There is a puja that is done for the rock. There is a puja done for the sculptor. The one who is financing it, they do a puja for the sculptor and then they get started. They do a separate thing for that rock slashing. Uli is it's called uli in Tamil. They do a separate puja for that and then they get started. So yoga तो हर चीज में है. इसको लेकर क्या क्या हो रहा है दिमाग में आपका? When you're normally stressed, no, I, I, I make you to listen the word stress 4 5 times. I am subconsciously increasing your stress level. Then what you think is wherever you see, you will see patterns of stress. And then what you will do is you will come back to me and ask, bro, I'm stressed. What should I do? Which I don't want. I want to be happy. I want you to be happy. I want myself to be happy first. So Vyayam is a lifestyle to train. If you want to be happy, Vyayam is the best thing. So the way in my Akhada, I belong to Banarasta Akhada, Akhada Swaminath. It is in Tulsi Ghat of Ganga. The blessing that is given is Mastraho. We want everyone to be happy. We don't want anyone to be confused. When you're happy, you're fulfilled. You don't want anything more. You simply want to stay happy. That's all. No? Life should be simple. No, you don't complicate it with too much things. So that is why I stopped reading about these things. Like I never started it until I wanted to teach it to people. Until I got permission from my gurus, I never started reading what was happening and all. And now the biggest problem I face is this yoga content, this stupid contents of traditional lectures and all. 2025 people keep sending me, man. I don't know what to do with it because that is not true at all. And आजकल तो क्या हो रहा है कि if two people are talking about one thing, the third one wants to give a different perspective and they are becoming influencers. I'm like, okay, social media though it is not my thing. Because I come from an age where books were golden. I still believe books are best friends than any mobile devices. असली knowledge तो वहाँ मिलता है. When someone is giving their life out to write content, they all their tapas also comes inside it. So you have to respect that. When you take life slow, you analyze what all the mistakes you have done. No, काम तो आधा इसमें ही हो जाएगा. And after that, what happens is cleansing only. But I am now learning that the cleansing can be done in 2 hours. Cleansing can be done in 2 days. I am like, I know people who have been cleansing themselves on a daily basis. But how it is done, the packaging it's done, no, it is very shocking. So yoga, it's not to be something to be learned, or it's not an art form. It is a lifestyle, and your lifestyle already has yoga. You bathe to morning, you wake up, you brush your teeth, you do your things properly in a very sequenced manner. You're already doing something a very higher form of yoga called dinacharya. Ayurveda mein dinacharya is a basic thing that you need to do, you must do. Your dinacharya is taken care of. Your health troubles will by half it will reduce. Now, unknowingly, we have picked up habits that are making our body stay imbalanced. For example, people who eat in fast food will definitely have higher chances of nutritional osteoporosis. They'll have higher chances of knee issues, arthritis. They'll have higher chances of bloating because your body will support proper digestion only when you sit and eat. ये तो common sense है. इसको बोलने के लिए why do you want a big beard? Why do you want a big beard? Why do you want a particular code of dress and all? At times it is funny, man. You are itself laughing, no? How humans have degraded
Yeah,
themselves.
yeah,
And now I am very good at reading. I read books of all these gurus, I'm like, my grandma taught me more than this. I have read 300 pages of bullshit. So, because memory power is now becoming a problem. Anxiety issues ज़्यादा हो रहा है. There is strength is a different thing, man. See, strength is it's like imagine it's a mountain. For you to go near the mountain, there should not be any hurdles, no. There should be no anxiety. If your body is under stress, even if Shiva is coming and teaching you, even if the best of the best gurus is coming and teaching you, the body will not show results. Chronic stress stops everything. And how do you stay stressed? You keep doing reels 24/7. Simple. You watch more content, you simply stay stressed. The same stress, it will now become a ball game. You'll transfer that stress to someone will transfer it to someone. So it is happening, no? You see it happening around you. Somewhere people will want to work on it, but their habits are very hard to break. So that is why I'm like, I don't take people as my students just like that. I have a very clear cut conversation because at this point, I don't want people to call them like, ये तो मेरा student है, he's saying he's my client. I don't want that. I want success story. It is hard to find people who are ready to work on themselves. It is not easy at all. Corrosive habits make sure people are getting cancer. A lot cancer cases are. You see how much increase is there in cancer cases, how much increase is there in tumor cases, How much increase is there in lower back pain? 25 years is that a age to get lower back pain? Sharmana chahiye, if you ask me. I was 25. If I say I have lower back pain, I'm not a man at all. This is strength. You can't call this narcissism and all that. So this is all. There is a weakening of people happening. Dimag se. When you subscribe to wrong content, you get motivated to wrong ideology, and naturally you are weak. चिल्ला रहे तो इसका मतलब नहीं है कि आप सही हो. People who make noises, no, it is not. If they make ऊंचाई का आवाज आ रहा है तो it is not. They are not right, no. So people who are smart should understand key differences. Understanding इसको तो समय लगेगा. That much I understand. Because I was fascinated with how Arnold looked and all that until I read what all he did behind. I didn't know. Now I can't badmouth people just like that because they are brands. They are brands. कुछ ना कुछ हो जाएगा मेरे लिए. People who are listening, they'll be happy because for them it is going to be nothing. For people like me who are talking the truth, no, like any time of the day, my guru will not ask me to do what Arnold did. Any time of the day, any Indian martial art person will never do, or Indian Vyayam person who has done it will never do things what gym people do because scientifically it is against your genetics. Next thing, it is not natural at all. And third thing, ये तो imported चीज है. Imported चीज का और पैसा देकर आप क्या बनोगे? वो तो it will not become a part of your home anyway. Why do you follow imported things, imported ideologies and all that? The best way to stay strong is to stay native. So you go, the more native you are, the more closer to nature you are, the more stronger you will be. Vyayam is the process of that only. It will keep you grounded. It will keep you it will make sure that you're staying close to nature. Yoga is very much a part of Vyayam. Yoga is not seen separately. So if you in my classes I keep focus based yogic exercises when they start. When they end we end it with Kapalbhati. So this is how I structure my classes. My way of exercising is very hybrid because I learned three different arts, and then I took the best of the three worlds and I created a module for desk job professionals. Because most of my friends were desk job people who were suffering from health problems like back pain, knee issues, shoulder issues. A lot of men these days are suffering pain in the back of their neck, mainly because they see mobile like this. When you're giving so much input for your mobile, it must strain there. What do you do to reverse it? There should be some sort of activity, no? So I designed my program based on this only. So I did a 3 month research. I've written I think I've given a page on my website how I designed this program for IT people. I took surveys. I sat down with people. I talked to them. I understood that there is a lot of movement का कमी है. Your body needs movement as a basic input on a daily basis. So people, when you see the next time, my request to you is, or anyone who is listening to is, when people say walking is an exercise they do, just laugh at them. It is a basic metabolic activity you are giving to your body. Are you walking for 2.5 hours? No. How is it an exercise? 10K steps, ये कौन सा metric है? Who gave 10K? 10K is a very good metric. You're walking, yes, walking, but that is not exercise, no. When you're walking, you're simply pumping blood throughout the body. And there are going to be residues in your joints. Your joints need strength. Your muscles need strength. Every part of your body needs some muscular activity. Just pumping blood alone, how will it become exercise? And when you say that people are into fat loss, no? And that stress is automatically there in people's mind. Come karna hai, come karna. When you stress, naturally your body will not respond to it. Your body will be like, your mind will be tired. You're simply like pushing an IT employee. How a GM is pushing an IT employee, it is already तो थक चुका है पहले से ही. You're asking it to do fat class and all that. Usually, when you see Ayurveda, how it is approached, and you see traditional martial arts, how it is approached, is totally different, man, than how it is done in the modern days. And this method are stress free. Now I am confidently I can tell. You want me to reduce 5 kgs? एक महीना में I can do. You want me to reduce 10 more kgs? 2 महीना में I can do. On an average, my students reduce 4 to 5 kgs in a month. People who are signed up for fat loss, for people who are signed up for weight gain also. So weight gain, it is a different mechanism. So when you split training, I go by parity principle, 80-20. So what you do apart from the Vyayam, that matters a lot. And it will matter, uh, ये तो hard things start to happen for people who don't have the right habits installed. For example, someone might have Netflix addiction. Someone might have a lot of mobile watching addiction. To take that time and give it to a healthy habit, no, it will require a lot of self-convincing. And that is where
Yeah,
you need someone to push. And that is the training job for me. As for example, people who have kids, they're not serious about their fitness. If you're 40, you're not able to run behind your kids, I'm sorry, you're weak. If you're 45, you're not able to go to a parents teachers meeting with a stiff shoulder, a strong shoulder. Strength and you are like two poles apart. So this is how people have to wire themselves. Just ask them to look at their grandfather's photo. At 70, men had stiff shoulders, man. आजकल के
yeah,
लोग तो I see a lot of people with bent shoulders. I see a lot of people who have bellies that are not healthy at all. And anyone who has raccoon eyes, anyone who has skin impediments of blackness and all, no, it means they have vata. So to work against vata is a very big thing. Vata is the only thing that is running from your body, top of your head, end of your feet, air is everywhere. To work against vata, it is a very big challenge. And that is why a lot of people are now ending up with surgery. Once you get into surgery, first thing is once you get anesthesia, your liver is in the state of shock. So people have to Google and read about what is happening when your body is getting anesthesia. And then there is no getting back to normalcy only. Unless you train for it, you're not going to get back into normalcy. I had a surgery done, and that surgery only changed my life path itself. I went with an accident. I had a anesthesia given to me. I had a scraping of a lot of flesh from my calf muscle. And that was the time I got to research, read, to meet my gurus and all that. Because what people understand today is totally like their worldview is different. And these traditional people, we live in a different world altogether. Because for us, endurance is the goal. For us, whatever we eat, it does not matter. We know to digest it. Digestion is never taught to these people. For normal people, when you're 40, you can't eat one banana leaf of marriage food or something. What kind of life are you living, man? ये तो बहुत दुख की बात है. It is very, it is, I think, in my terms, I will say, if you're not able to digest what you're eating, no, it means you're simply under pain. A lot of people with digestion issues. So most of the people I train, it's like these are the issues that surface up. Digestion, dard. And if they do 2 days of exercise, they are feeling a lot of blood pump and all that. They get clots also. Few people get clots. Their blood is that dirty that they get clots. And the best part about traditional fitness is it is very much integrated. The approach itself is integrated. If you see a lot of, for example, you take allopathy, pharmacology, physiology, everything is separate. 5 different streams of medicine. If you see an ophthalmologist, they would have learned basic medicine also. Why are they not treating their patients? Because they want only the eyes to be treated. Why? Eye is part of the body. So this is the same thing with gym also. When you're doing a bicep curl, you know you're working your biceps, but your whole body is under a state of shock because you're carrying that weight. Your heart is pumping more blood. Traditional fitness sees your body as a whole unit. Not your biceps alone is not trained. Biceps alone is trained by these people because some famous bodybuilder did that exercise. That's all. ये कौन सा logic है ये? There is an exercise that is done with dumbbells, which is raising the dumbbells, bringing it down. This is called, I think it's called Arnold. I think it's named after Arnold. I don't remember the name. Arnold said or something. Before Arnold, thousands of people were doing this. Oh yeah, their name is not mentioned because Arnold did a documentary called Pumping Iron. It is simple. So we have to understand हर चीज के लिए research करना के लिए भी you need to have knowledge. Watching their website, just seeing their videos is not. They are themselves telling the content. How will they say the truth? People have to be smart, no? And I like training only with smart people, man. There are a lot of gurus in the world. They simply accept whatever their school teacher says. They run by it. It needs a separate direction, a separate line of thought to be stronger. And being stronger naturally, that is a different. It is like how to say. Just imagine people are there is a different world where people are smarter. No, they can be happy. They don't need subscription to any ashram. Just like that, they can be happy anywhere. That main goal of Vyayam is firstly, it increases your blood circulation like crazy. Second thing, every muscle of your body is getting their job done. Thirdly, your digestion issues will all be solved. Fourth, your body as whole unit is ready to train for strength. Every part of your body is ready for strength. Fifth one, there is a lot of nerve integration. When your nerves are integrated, it is hard for your body to even get any disease, for any disease. The last one is, when you sit for meditation after Vyayam, your focus will be at least 3x. For a normal person, the person who does Vyayam, it will be at least 3x. This is how Vyayam has impacted my life, and this is how it is impacting the life of my students also.
You actually answered two of my next questions. I was about to ask you what exactly Vyayam is and how it is different from the exercise that we are performing today in the gym. So you have already answered that part. Also, I wanted to ask you about your startup, Temple of Strength, and who should actually approach you. So you have also mentioned that part, that you mentioned a few problems that you see in people today, and those could approach you, and they will get information from you that you already mentioned. Friends,
Sure, I'm ready to work with yes, I'm ready to work with people who are very serious about their transformation. People who are not serious, no. Just like that, people will call and the next day they'll get lazy. And lazy people will never get the job done. Okay, and this will involve a lot of self-love. People who have self-love only can start with Vyayam. Because you want to see results in your own body, you don't have that self-love, it will never happen. A lot of the love today is borrowed. Some of your friends says he has done it. 2 दिन के लिए आप करोगे उसके बाद the borrowed love will expire. So someone with self-love, someone who is self-motivated, and people who are looking for fat loss. I give fantastic results when it comes to fat loss. Fat loss is fantastic. When you want to gain weight, that is also very much doable. The way I train is I'll give you a diet chart, I'll give you a nutrition guideline, and I'll always be available for any kind of clarity you need on the part. So 80-20, as I said, what you do around your Vyayam is very important. And I focus on energy level. So if you're training with me, if my guarantee to you is you'll stay energetic once you get into the lifestyle. In 3 weeks, you'll start seeing fantastic results. And your energy levels will simply want to do more Vyayam. So that is why people are sticking with me. The more energetic you are, the more you can do for yourself, firstly. Next thing is for your family. At your work, you have got energy to give. You simply are smarter than the rest. No, you simply are more happy than the rest. Channeling the energy, the next part. So there also, when the guidance is needed, I give it to people. Mostly people who experience this push of energy, they're really happy. One basic thing is whenever I pick up my phone to call them, they talk with such energy that I myself, I feel motivated. Arey, yes, I'm doing a good job. Let's continue. This is what I want, and I'm very happy that I wouldn't have gotten this happiness with my corporate job. I'm really happy doing what I'm doing, and this is why I'm going to continue it throughout my life.
Krishna, actually, when Madhu approached me with the proposal of this interview, and Madhu introduced me about you, she was saying a very positive words about you. She was very positive about your approach to life, and I can definitely see why she was so much impressed with you.
Oh, thank you so much, man. Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
Friends,
Madhu is
those who are
like
watching,
Madhu to
yes,
me is like she has always been inspiring because the most I have seen the temple in my college campus. Whenever I have seen it, Madhu has been there. Like you can't see temple without Madhu, and you can't see Madhu without the temple also. She is like that close, and I think that gives you see her discipline is so strong that she daily visits the temple. This is the culture we want. I'm really happy to be in the friend circle of Madhu because it inspires, man. This is how you need inspiration, no?
Yeah.
If she comes down to Chennai, I'll take my daughter to her. I'll introduce her.
Mm.
I want my daughter to have that sort of a discipline when it comes to devotion. She should have that sort of a discipline. So she is automatically a role model. So this is what culture does to people. You come from a very good culture. Naturally, you are a role model. Why is my Guruji my role model? Anything that happens in my life, I can talk to him. Simply because he is Guruji. That's all. Nothing else. That were terms itself. So foreigners take these terms, they pollute them, and then this is all I am very angry about. Okay. One common way you see this term guru is this love guru. You see anyone being love guru in India, all this will happen in the stupid countries only. So intellectually, when you are like far ahead of other civilizations, the way people function itself is very holistic. That is why when you talk to elders, they'll have a far sightedness. Because they have crossed a lot of hurdles. They simply don't want you to go through them. And when it is coming to Vyayam, when I say stop, people stop because they don't want to get injured. It's as simple as that. Because I have crossed a lot of injuries. I have gone to competitions, I have crossed a lot of injuries. And I say, now I have gained some expertise to transfer it to people. And it requires a lot of this. Now, हर चीज को shorter time में package करना, I think that is the first thing we'll have to erase as a habit. As a habit only when you erase it. So, for example, for stress levels alone, I'm giving you an example. When someone is 20 years, 25 years old, they are not married, the stress level will be low. Once they are married, no, people always project it in such a way that it is something of a distaste. People only who are responsible, who are strong enough to run a family should get married. This is the first thing. Once they are married, either the only way you can proceed is you get stronger to run the family. That's all. That is the only way. You can't keep complaining about it. No? And women these days, a lot of unwanted lifestyle activities are being pushed into the lives of women also. So in ancient days, you see in olden now also in old villages and all, can see ladies lifting 15 kg of stone equipments to simply grind a masala. I am 200% sure none of today's ladies will be able to do the manual labor their grandmothers did. Because it is simply out of practice. It is not complaining. It is simply the lack of that equipment in your house and the lack of manual labor. So your body to stay strong, where will you get that activity from? This is the question people have to ask themselves. How to stay strong? How to stay without diseases? There is no pride in spending on your insurance. As long as you're not going to be healthy, you can say this is weakness. Have you ever spoke to a insurance agent? If you can give me an example of a positive insurance agent, I'll quit what I'm doing because डराना उनका काम है. Okay, when you eat input fear, when you're eating idli dosa input, you're going to be fat or you're going to be calorie rich. So things when you're naturally you're going to be weak. So all this comes into we have to find ways to distinguish what is happening around us. And that time can be a week, can be a month. So transformation happens only when people analyze. No, analyzing is the first step. Analyzing should happen within everyone. And I hope a lot of people read about our culture, follow channels like Indian temples, get into a temple and simply sit and watch what these old people have done, how strong their hands would have been to create these sculptures, how majestic their elephants would have been to simply move these stones, how strong these soldiers would have been to carry these logs, how powerful these priests should have been to do puja. Their energy is still vibing there. So all this should be considered. When you go to temple, this is what you see. And temples in India, temple was never open for public. And now it is an opportunity for everyone to at least go learn what has happened there. Every temple is also a documentation of their lifestyle. You see Hoysala kind of architecture in Hampi. It's marvelous. Who can build that sort of a structure today? What kind of concentration these men had to do this? And all these people, they did their Vyayam. They had physical culture. They were trained. That is why they were able to do. If a man who's sculpting, he did not have enough wrist strength, you think he can do his job? No. Just out of practice, no one can do. In the evenings, when the light is coming down, they used to oil their body. They used to exercise. They used to exercise. They used to have dinner, sleep it off. No Kon Baneka Crocodile in those days. No TV show that is making you sleep late and keeping you thinking unwanted things in those days. That is why they were strong. So digital detox is what I want anyone who is listening to this podcast. Just three things I want to make you guys understand. Learn what is strength training properly. You can either I have explained enough from my point of view in this podcast. Learn what actual strength training is. Read about digital detox. It is very much important. And third thing, do not feel pride when you're talking about your diseases. It irritates me like crazy when people are like, yes, G, I have got diabetics, what to do? What kind of a guy you are? There is no pride when your liver is damaged. You are functioning with a weak body. And for Harchis, when you are for simple things, for people who are suffering from migraine, you start doing simple walking more, your body will be better. You sweat out more, your body will be better. So a lot of parameters. This is highly personalized. So when the data is given to me, like only when people come to me, I can give them the solution. So at least a consent call for anyone who is coming from your end. I think I'll do that for you
To those who are listening to this podcast or watching this show on YouTube, I will be sharing the link to Temple of Strength in the description below, and you could check out the website. You could get in touch with Krishna for guidance or for a consulting. Krishna, this has been a very positive and good interaction with you. I'm really glad that you could manage some time and interact with us on Indian Temple channel. We will. I will definitely make sure that we will again interact. Again, we will meet up and we will have more discussions on this topic. That would
guys.
really be a privilege for me.
Thank you so much, Dinesh ji. My best experience is like you're from Maratha background, so I'll keep digging your background now.
Definitely. I will be always around for a chat or for any discussion.
Definitely.
Thank you very much, Krish.
I'm so glad I had this interaction with you. I'm Ram, Jai Shri Ram.
Jai Shri Ram. Thank you very much for giving us time.